8 mice were given a flawless world. 4 males, 4 females. Food that never ran out. Water that never ran dry. No disease could reach them. No predator could touch them. Nothing in that space could ever cause them harm. 5 years later, every single one of them was dead. And not one of those deaths was something a doctor could have put a name to. This is Universe 25. It may be the most unsettling experiment ever performed on a society. In 1968, an American scientist named John Calhoun set out to build a paradise for mice. Soft bedding filled every corner. The temperature never wavered. The enclosure was cleaned by hand on a strict schedule. The animals inside were the healthiest stock available, drawn from the breeding colony at the National Institutes of Health. Calhoun was an ethologist, a scientist who studies animal behavior, and his entire career circled a single question: what happens to a society when life stops being hard? He had been chasing that question for 20 years before this experiment even began. He had built earlier versions of it everywhere, in a fenced quarter-acre of Maryland woodland, inside barns, in plain laboratory rooms. 24 of them, one after another. Each one a slightly different paradise for rats or mice. No scarcity, no predators, no way out. And in every single one, the same story played out. The population surged, violence flared, courtship twisted into something frantic and strange, then flattened into total apathy, and the colony died. He watched that pattern repeat 24 times. The 25th was supposed to be the perfect run, the clean one. The answer no one could argue with. He built it inside a federal research facility in Maryland, a 9-foot square pen with nesting compartments stacked up every wall and mesh tunnels running floor to ceiling to reach them. Calhoun called them walk-up apartments. Feeders kept them endlessly supplied, water bottles never emptied. By his math, the space could comfortably hold around 3,800 mice. It would never come anywhere close. On day 1, he lowered in his 8 founders and closed the lid. For the first 104 days, almost nothing happened. The mice explored, mapped the space, and sorted out who slept where. Then the first litters arrived, and the numbers began to double. Every 55 days, twice as many mice as before. By day 315, more than 600 animals were living inside. They scrambled over one another on the ramps, slept in heaps, and fought for space in the upper apartments. This is the moment it all started to unravel. In a normal colony, when there are more mice than the territory can hold, the extras simply leave. They move on. They find somewhere new. Inside Universe 25, there was nowhere new to go. The young males, no space to claim, no role to fill, began drifting into the middle of the pen. They pooled there, motionless. Calhoun would stand over them for hours, watching them do absolutely nothing. No rivals to beat, no females to win, nothing to guard. Healthy, well-fed, and utterly without purpose. When one was attacked, he wouldn't even fight back. He would lie there, take it, then stand, wander a few steps, and lie down again. But not all of them went still. At the other extreme, a second group turned frantic. They raced through the enclosure faster than any other mouse. They shoved their way into nests other males were defending. They skipped every courtship ritual the others still followed, and no amount of violence could deter them. In the worst corners of the colony, behaviors appeared that no healthy mouse society had ever produced. The females pulled away too. The ones with no place in the order climbed to the highest apartments and lived alone. They stopped mixing with the males. They stopped breeding. Calhoun gave a name to something else he saw: the behavioral sink. Even with food spread evenly everywhere, the mice packed themselves compulsively around just a few feeders. They refused to eat alone. Being near other mice had fused so tightly to the act of eating that a full feeder standing by itself was useless to them. A handful of spots grew unbearably crowded, while the rest of the pen sat nearly empty. Then the mothers, still trying to raise young, began to break down in a much darker way. Guarding a nest here took constant effort. The males, who once held territory, wore out and stopped protecting their families. So the mothers had to defend the nest alone while still nursing. They started turning on their own pups. They dropped them in scattered spots around the pen. Some lost track of which young were theirs. Some stopped recognizing them at all. And in the worst stretches, mothers began devouring their own offspring. In parts of the colony, fewer than 1 newborn in 20 ever lived long enough to be weaned. By this point, Calhoun later wrote, the social fabric of the colony was effectively gone. The bodies were still breathing. The structure that had once made them a functioning species was not. The few pups that survived were raised by mothers who barely noticed them. They grew up with no example of what a working life in this place even looked like. And when they matured, they behaved like nothing Calhoun had ever recorded. The males of this generation never fought, never tried to mate, never took part in anything social at all. They ate, they slept, and they groomed themselves over and over. Their coats stayed flawless because they never got into a single scrape. They drifted through the colony as though no other mouse existed. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. On the outside, they looked like the healthiest animals in the entire pen. On the inside, they were finished. They never reproduced. They couldn't socialize. Their minds had formed in a world where every role was already taken, so they had quietly checked out of their own species. On day 560, the population hit its peak, 2,200 mice. It would never rise again. The last successful conception in Universe 25 happened on day 920. After that, nothing was born. The colony simply aged. The beautiful ones kept grooming. The withdrawn females stayed in their high apartments. Violence sputtered on in pockets, aimed at nothing. And one by one, the mice died of old age, with no one coming up behind them. On May 23, 1973, the last mouse in Universe 25 died, 4 years and 10 months after the lid first closed. Calhoun said the mice had died twice. First, the death of the spirit. Then, much later, the death of the body. The first had come years before the second. When his findings went public, the world took the easy lesson. Comfort kills. Abundance kills. A life with no struggle destroys itself. The image of the beautiful ones, immaculate and quietly extinct, became one of the most quoted metaphors of the late 20th century. Urban planners reached for it. So did preachers and politicians of every stripe. Anyone warning about the decline of modern life found something in those mice to point at. But that was never what Calhoun actually claimed. His real conclusion sat right there in the paper, in his own words. For a creature as complex as a human being, he warned, a similar collapse wasn't just possible, it was logical. When the number of individuals able to fill meaningful roles far outstrips the number of roles that exist, only friction and breakdown can follow. The thing that killed them wasn't comfort. It was the vanishing of meaningful roles. Once the population outgrew the roles the colony could offer, the mice with no place in it simply stopped working. The fighters had no one to fight. The mothers were guarding nests no one helped them keep. The young inherited nothing because there was nothing left to inherit. The food never ran out. The water never ran out. What ran out was the one thing no one had thought to design into paradise in the first place. Comfort didn't kill them. It just stripped away the friction that made being alive feel like anything at all. And here's the part almost no one ever quotes. Calhoun was no doomsayer. He spent the rest of his career not forecasting the collapse, but trying to head it off. He kept building new universes. He kept changing the variables, hunting for the single thing he could put back into a paradise to keep it alive. He believed it could be done. He believed people could choose a different ending than the mice did. As physical space runs out, he argued, the way forward is to expand into conceptual space, into ideas, into networks, into building roles that never existed before. He called it ideational generativity, a heavy phrase for a simple truth. The way out is to keep inventing new reasons to be here. But the experiment is still sitting there in the data. A perfectly built paradise. 8 mice, 5 years. A total extinction. And a cause of death no report could ever name. The mice were never given a choice. We still have ours.